Wow, I finally have an excuse to show that intro. Hey there mates and femmates, this is Daizo. Now, a lot of you may know me for creating such classics like 100 Runes of Enemies, Krack The Hack, Alpha Sphere, or some neat level design contest entries. In today's video, I decided to basically come out and say that I'm not perfect, and even the best modders have some real terrible levels we produce. These levels can result from a lot of things like being horridly rushed, making something uninspired, executing an idea poorly, trying to appeal to trends, or even producing something as a joke that ends up falling flat. Before I begin, I'm gonna lay out a few rules. I'm not using levels from unreleased or no longer available projects, so no Sumaro challenges. I won't be putting in any of my early Kaiser projects in this simply because that is a whole different can of maggots to open up. And finally, I will be including levels from collaborative entries, so long as the stages I made are 90% mine. Alright, it's time to embrace the failures that got me to where I am today.
Number 10.
This is Palovania. Now, for those who have played Krack The Hack, you might either love or hate this level for several reasons. To those who love it, you might be like, hey, isn't this a parody level? Isn't it made to be bad? Is this supposed to be... This is meant to be a joke, right? I'm putting this level on the list because while yes, this is a level inspired by the Jump Team project, Yump, this is still not an ideal level that anyone should make.
That's not fucking fair.
It's got 3 sections: Don't Get Careless or Else, Janky Hackmate, and Gold Trap Central. You could try to get the one-up in the Happy Crap reference, but then you turn to Angry Cow, and no one wants to be Angry Cow.
This level is pure non-effort, and purposefully so.
The flaws in this level are pretty obvious. It's a plain edit of front door, the message boxes are cringe, the aesthetics are not pleasing in the slightest, and the music is Megalovania. Admittedly, when I designed it, I knew to put it in the special world since that is where you'd expect the most strangest and most difficult levels in any ROM hack.
Daizo, I still kind of hate you for making this level.
That, and Melon Pizza made his own small edits that made the level a lot more interesting. I'd say the only catch to trying to beat this level is to go for Palovania's achievement, where you have to beat the level in a single run. Myself and Melon Pizza really enjoyed making the stage, and we also liked all the small details we put in it. My favorite part is still the level fail theme, which uses a huge sample from Sonic CD's Game Over theme.
Fucker!
Oh yeah, fun fact. Ever since the later updates of Krack The Hack, the timer is being removed from every single level, so the Happy Crap reference is actually easier since the original level had a very low timer just to make things even more irritating to beat. My level does lose points since Super Max 64 beat me to the reference. Damn it, I wanted to do it first.
Number 9.
When replaying this level again, I had to bump it lower on this list since it wasn't as bad as I remembered it. Still, even at 9th place, I knew this level isn't for everyone. But hey, at least you're not driving through potholes. Platform Pothole is my 6th vanilla level design contest entry that got rejected due to some broken rules which I'll get to later. In hindsight, the concept of this level is surprisingly simple. Plan ahead. Take advantage of what the level gives you, and you will be fine. But since the info box only works when you're big, yeah, if you don't get the memo, suddenly this level is gonna get slightly more annoying. What helps a lot in this stage is its use of blue coins to tell you when some enemies will show up. Other times, you should know to step back so rocks or other traps can't get to you. In a few cases, you will also have to deal with some irritatingly placed bullet bills, which, if you don't understand how they work in an auto-scroller, you're screwed. Now, the reason it got rejected is because of its secret exit. The rule I broke is using objects in unintended purposes, which, while vague, I should know what I was doing. I used the ability to hide objects behind dragon coins, so when you get all of them, a door will appear the next time you enter the level. I think I was trying to make it so that collecting them is important, but to be quite frankly honest, I could have saved it for VLDC 7. I mean seriously, there was a level that used the exact same trick and got in the top 10. Very convenient that the unintended purposes rule was cut, wasn't it? But still, it's in the worst list mainly because of that one info box, what playstyle is required as a result, and also breaking the rules. So kids, don't break the rules. Winners don't break rules.
Number 8.
Hey you, have you tried steroids? Why the random question? Because apparently Rexes have during this level. Woo, I went there! If you guys remember, I entered in a contest based on editing a pre-existing level where I could only edit the graphics, enemies, music, and background. That was the level Awesome! And it helps that the music from the game Awesome was used. Okay, what about a level I made where you could only edit the level's layout and not the sprite placements? Oh, well, you just get Yoshi's Island 1, which doesn't even try anything new. It kinda edits the enemy's behavior. It's kinda bad. This level is honestly pretty low effort. It doesn't help that I used Daizo the Rexo as the player character, and barely did anything with his moveset. This level is just boring, and my attempt at self-aware humor isn't the highlight of my story writing skills. To be fair, I'm still not perfect at writing a story, but at least I could get the idea across. I would try to make a level like this again, but you're better off just playing same sprites, different levels. Yeah, man.
Number 7.
Okay, I know this is a quote from Two Stupid Dogs, but I think Ren Dog pulls it off better.
Oh, isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
You know, I have a funny story about this one. So way back in VLDC 5, I told my friend Evil Guy that I was going to recreate the Aperoid City from Star Fox Assault using vanilla resources. As ambitious as it is, I pulled it off. What did it cost though? Nothing much. Just another generic level except with a confusing tile set. Honestly, without the aesthetics, the level would have benefited slightly since, yeah, it does throw me off. The first half is in the long side too, but at least I put the midpoint before the boss fight. There really isn't much to this level otherwise. Just some randomly placed enemies, some bad pellets in a few areas, and again, a confusing foreground. The entry placed 56th with 69 entries in total, so it's on the bottom half, but I like to think I improved since then. Right?
Number 6.
Hey, so pro tip, never enter in a contest with the category authenticity in it. Well, this won't be the only entry I basically screwed up with the Super Mario World themed contests. I will say, this is the better of the two. The only issue is a lot of the entries that place higher than mine are also just as riddled with inconsistencies as, ironically, the original Super Mario World. Not docking anyone's efforts, there's just a bunch of hypocrisies involved with the judging. Right, what's wrong with this level? The level's structure just strays too far from Super Mario World's other fortress designs. See, I thought I was being a little clever with the lack of swamps and thwimps, since that's how Iggy's castle was structured, and they aren't introduced until Morin's castle. But clearly, I should have just stuck with, like, castle enemies, you know? Another thing that basically was the big nail in the coffin was the secret exit. Especially since you normally find this kind of design in either a ghost house or Chocolate Island 5. I mean, yeah, there is also that P-switch puzzle in Donut Secret 1. And sure, as far back as World 1, you're introduced to kicking up items. See, this is why this contest was kind of hard to design for. Since there are no secret exits in fortresses, you can make the argument that one wouldn't have a key and keyhole either. Hypocrisies aside. In hindsight, I can see where the level does fall. The over-reliance on Koopas for a fortress stage, and how I used them really felt ROM hacky compared to almost all the other levels in the base game, especially during the second half. Hey, it's cool to use blue Koopas to kick shells, but you expect that out of the level in the special world! I mean, to be fair, there was the- alright, that's it. I can't do this entry anymore. Super Mario is bullshit, and there is no level theme at all. Not at all! There is no level theme! I'm going out! I'm out!
Number 5.
You know, when I started this list, I originally placed this entry on the 9th spot. However, due to some offensive symbolism and the fact the level had potential, it honestly hurts a lot more from the previous 5 entries. Meet Harry. No, not Harry Potter. The stage I submitted for JC Games' 9th Special World Level Contest. Oh boy, that's a mouthful. Later on, I had a standalone release that led to my very first trailer created from Camtasia Studio. Ah, the memories. The big problem is, it starts out with an interesting premise. Theoretically, if Nintendo had to make a 9th special stage, I could honestly see them making a Ghost Grassland stage. Yeah, sure, the level has some weird level design, but it probably would have placed me higher than third last. It is then that you get transported into a pitch black abyss. You land on some ground that's totally not based on eyeless, and you stumble across some words. Jigsaw. And then you stumble across a castle. Remember, this is the re-release version, and we're getting to that later. The castle is similarly structured to Front Door. We have 4 rooms per hallway. I do like the basic idea of each hallway, since you'll notice that the numbered doors are flipped, and by going to the same numbered door, you'll be on either side of the themed room. Too bad a few of them aren't well designed. When playing this level, I found that I relied a lot on sprite spam to make things a lot harder for certain areas. I'll admit the boo chasing segment is really cool even if you could break the gimmick. The rest rely on generators and launchers placed in annoying spots. Oh, and don't even get me started with Door 4's bottom half. If you play the re-release version, there is a checkpoint before the castle segment, but the only checkpoint in this contest version is just before the boss, meaning you would have to do the outside segment, both castle parts, and this annoying dark hallway where the only pipe that works is the blue one, since it's structured in a weird way and doesn't repeat horizontally. Oh, don't even try the initial boss door, since that'll just lead you back to the beginning of the dark hallway. I actually really do like the boss in terms of concept. It's basically a tank fight where you dodge everything it throws at you. It does recreate the Matrix in a few parts, but it's a fun survival segment, and it really shows potential a secret final boss could be like. Another reason why I kinda don't like this is because this basically shows my edgy phase in my life. Oh, you thought the Daizo's Journey trailer was bad? Get ready to hear the kind of crap I put into this entry. Now, people are aware of the following segment being inspired by Eyeless, but that's not the end of it. If you go through an invisible wall in the first set of doors, you will find a twisted version of the warp zones you'd find in Super Mario Bros. But, and get ready for this, if you are big and you spin jump on certain coins, you'll find an even more screwed up version that leads to Warp 3. This takes you to a black and white version of the dark hallway, ending with a Yoshi with his face removed. Oh, and to add to the spookiness of the area, the theme from Lavender Town is playing. Oh no, this music is making me want to kill myself. But if that's still not enough, get a load of this, and I wasn't doing this without save states. So, during the underwater area, if you go under a certain pit, you'll get to a pipe. The first time it leads to a bloody version of the room without enemies or music. Do it again, and you'll get a gray version that's even more empty. Do it one last time, and you get to the same room again, except with shadows of birds, Princess Peach, and a few enemies. When I triggered this, I just kind of felt dirty for even implementing all of this anti-Christian stuff into the game. Then it gets to the secret exit, because of course this level needs one. There is also a fifth door, but I failed to realize I overridden the level. So, as a result, it leads to the gray version of that water segment. I do still have the unused level now that I know how to revert the game, and this is what it looks like. It's fine. Yeah, so you have a level without frequent checkpoints, worse design if you go for the contest entry, and an atmosphere an edgy teenager would come up with. Because I was one! Now with Alpha Sphere Director's Cut, I can at least say I did a way better job at setting up unsettling environments without relying on anti-Christian symbolism and eyeless influence. Oh wait, that game is 2-bit styled, isn't it? The more I change, the more I stay the same.
Number 4.
Time to face the consequences of your behavior.
Terrible pun aside, Mario's first adventure is arguably one of the worst hacks I made on the hack section. It's not the worst ROM hack in the world. Oh wait, according to this video it is, so never mind! Face of Fear does not help the hack's cause. So, you know of my other Spotlight level, Brain Plague, right? You know how it respects the player, maybe throws a couple scares? Well, me it's Tryhard Cousin, who doesn't even know the rules of Spotlight level design. It doesn't really help that the Spotlight doesn't follow Mario's position, and instead it just scrolls up and down. Sure, the level tries to be fair with all these coins that show up above the darkness, but that's like throwing you in a pitch black room and your only sense of direction is stepping on pennies. Some enemies won't go behind the face either, but for whatever reason, their projectiles do. Oh, also, getting all of the dragon coins in this level is kind of a nightmare. Sometimes, the level will expect you to pull off hard maneuvers, even excluding the shadow. The biggest saving grace of this level, as well as almost all the levels in M1A, is that you can skip the levels by finding shortcuts. To find Face of Fear shortcut, all you need to do is walk the other direction. No, I'm not kidding, look. I'm still gonna keep this level low because of how it handles its secret exit. For whatever bold decision I made, I added a second checkpoint hidden in plain sight. Oh, you don't see it? It's one of the coins, you dummy! Oh, which one? I don't know. I used the number 4 in the message box to try to hint this, but it's really confusing how you're meant to interpret it. Is it the 4th green coin you collect? That can't be it. It's the 6th one. Is it the 4th columns of green coins? I guess, but why would you assume that? So after you collect this coin, you either exit the level if you've already been it, or die if it's your first run of it. Once you re-enter the level, you're behind the goalpost. Go to the very right, and you'll encounter with a room based on Blackout Basement from Donkey Kong Country. This has a lot of the same platforming expected from the first section, but it's way less forgiving since you can't see anything half the time, which results in you guessing. Oh, and there's also a time limit, so good luck! So, yeah, Evil Guy was right. this is the worst level in the game. Well, I was told by him at least.
Number 3!
Oh dear god, not aerial assault! Hey, do you like Tubler? Well, I got a treat just for you. Now, funny enough, there's a lot of levels that members of JC Games regret. Some levels were even made artificially harder by the leader himself, as well as suggestions he made to us developers on what to do. For example, he made yellow and green switch pals blocks solid. Now, that's not necessarily a bad idea if you want to keep the game balanced, assuming you knew what you were doing. Now, the biggest thing about this level is somehow JC had everything with layer priority enabled, which resulted in a few changes. Later on, I had my own bright ideas to further spice up the level, and this is the result. What the hell was I thinking with this omega weapon of a level? It starts with you immediately going after a P-Balloon, which can be seen as useless since there is another one, but it's a good idea to use both. Considering you can only take one hit before death, it makes sense that there aren't power-ups. These days, if people wanted to use the P-Balloon, they'd install some code to make it either faster, give you more hits, or just not use it, cause, well, that. It only gets worse in the second half, since you have to deal with what's above you. You also don't know how much time you have, but just assume every second counts. Sometimes, the level can't decide if it wants to be a platformer, a flying level, or both? Oh, if you're thinking going on top of the level is the end of it, nuh-uh, no. You have one more gauntlet in a completely different area. When I designed this part, I intended this to be the ship flown by the main antagonist at this point of the game. But to be quite frank, this is just a little too hard. It even had levelengine use save states, and he ended the video just before he beat the level. Now, if you're saying this shouldn't be that low and that Harry should have taken up this spot, then by all means consider it as such. However, these are my levels, and I have a big attachment to what these levels mean to me. And personally, considering all the signs I ignored when making this, even if this was the second level I got into a collaborative ROM hack, that's no excuse to how garbage this level is. Compared to the Great Pit, with how short that level is, I really should have just eased up on the spike spam I put all over the place.
Number 2!
Mario games, am I right? I want to make a space shooter instead. Too bad I did it wrong! Oh man! I should be blessed people quickly forgot about this level. But in hindsight, this level just sucks if you don't know what the info box says. But even with that knowledge, the level still suffers cause fireballs don't shoot straight. There's also some stuff you can't see coming at all. Because your controls are so screwed, you won't be able to go left or right very fast, so you're gonna have to do this awkward movement that will basically kill you a lot. Sure, you can get some hints on where you're supposed to go with the indicators in the background. That doesn't help when you have to deal with these impossible tunnels in the second half. How are you supposed to avoid this? Yeah, you're meant to just know that the walls are fake in some places. You what? This level is really bad simply because I tried to pull off such a weird gimmick without much planning. You know the one thing I could have done that would have improved massively? Use 1FO blocks in the background, and not focus too heavily on the rather impressive fake parallax scrolling I pull off. This level is embarrassing, because this was after the level I'm about to talk about, and I was doubting my abilities as a level designer. Oh, what is this level, you ask? Oh boy.
Dishonorable Trash News!
I have two levels that I didn't put in the list for two different reasons. Firestorm Fortress from Mario Lost in the Forest. I actually forgot that this collab was actually released, so making this list, I thought I wouldn't need to talk about this level. Luckily, the level is disqualified from the list, mainly because more than 10% of the level is not mine. I made a few levels for this collab, and while I could also bring out Treetop Terror or Football Frost, it's Firestorm Fortress that commits two main sins. It's an auto-scroller, and I stole the pipe idea from VIP5's Don't Get Careless or Else. Bad level, but the boss wasn't mine, and some of the aesthetics have changed, so yeah, that's more than 10% of the level, to be honest. The Great Pit is my one and only a second Mario theme level, and it is also the first collab level that technically got accepted in an actual collab. To make a long story short, I submitted the level 10 times, raocow told me to just submit it, my dickhead nemesis ripped it out of the game when he took charge, he left the project to die immediately after, and Toby555, who finished the project, put it back in. Don't get me wrong, the level is pretty great, but I more or less feel pity for the level, so that's why it's not on this list.
There is one more level that some people would be wondering about. What about my CLDC 2020 entry? Well, considering I made this video before that level was made, the stage is a little too new to talk about, so yeah! If you guys think that stage is actually pretty bad, just replace number 10. Yeah, just replace Palovania with that stage, okay? Nice, cool.
Okay, I'm just delaying the inevitable at this point. Bring it in.
Number 1.
Hey, so remember that one section in Harry where everything is white and black?
Go on.
You know just how edgy and cool that place was?
Yes?
What if you made a whole level out of it?
Well, that's a great idea! And to make things more rad, I'll even use the same shadowy player character in that level itself. And I'll ignore my one and only tester, cause he just doesn't get the level. I'll even cry like a bitch just so the level stays in the game, cause the audience will get just how masterfully crafted this level actually is. It's perfect! Perfect, I say!
4 years later. Uh-oh.
My level sucks,
Yep.
and today I'm gonna talk about
Most likely.
Bring It On. Where do I begin with this level? Let's start with what is seen in front of you. The aesthetics. Everything is chaos. The only colors left are black and white, and most likely there to kill people's eyes. If this was from Yump, I'd probably understand the level's purpose more. But no! And things get worse. You have objects that are black that you can go through. Big no-no. You have multiple ways to get to the second half of the level. Okay, why is one of the secret paths way worse to trek through? How about a use block snake that just decides to randomly go wherever it wants? I mean, that's cool, but it leads to confusing areas. Hey, how about some tight spots that require you to move exactly where you have to be, or otherwise you'll get punished? How about implement traps that are not well telegraphed and not explained well? Okay, get this. What do you think is in the center of this black hole? What could possibly have been trapped for years in this chaotic place? What is the meaning of black and white? Trollface. A meme. that was never relevant since 2012 rears its ugly head as a boss of this level. I'll give the boss this. How the stake blocks work here is pretty rad. But considering the context, it's almost like I designed this level as a troll to begin with. I didn't, but what else would you assume with this? The level just feels bad, and it only adds insult to injury that the center of all of this is a troll-faced Reznor boss. If it wasn't for the boss, this level would be less insulting come the end. This level was the final nail in the coffin that completely kills the collab's efforts. I killed Jump. It's no wonder criticism was very high while I was working on both the trapdoors and Brain Plague. It ruined my reputation. Even if I made some great levels in Jump, my favorite being Rock Climbing Rush and Back to the Future, this one level tarnished me as a level creator for years! It wasn't until I released Krack The Hack that I was respected by my peers again. If it wasn't for 100 runes of enemies, I would have just quit.
Or at least, that's what I would have said. We all have bad levels, and for a long time I've been haunted by many of these creations. Young Palovania is a parody to my bad works, for instance. I've only realized this when I finished a little project led by myself, Chaser, and Evil Guy called Project K. Without them, I wouldn't have come to terms with myself. I guess this video also represents my fears. If you guys don't remember, I actually have made countdowns before, those being top 5 hardest Super Mario levels and top 5 Super Mario Road Halloween hacks. Those are terrible, and they really show me how irritating my voice can be. I didn't do another fully scripted video for years afterwards, especially after my addition to Thoughtful's Minions Top 15 N64 games. So, what changed my mind? What made me push through this video? Well, I just said it. I did push through this video, and I ignored my worries. Like how I look back at these 10 stages, I always look back at my own videos and just say, I moved on. Will this video turn out good? I personally don't think so, but I can only get better from here. So thank you, Chaser, for having me realize this. Thank you, Melon Pizza, for helping me out with our projects. Thank you, Evil Guy, for being my longest internet friend. Thank you to my fans who celebrate 100 Moons of Enemies in Alpha Sphere. And finally, thank you, the viewer, for watching. This is Daizo Divan, and it's never goodbye. It's always,
Aw, you're welcome, buddy.
Wait, you're still here? When we were playing this level again, I had to bump into... I'm the worst! I'm the worst writer! I can't read my own shit! Not out loud, anyway.